welcome back. My name is Holly-Beth and this is going to be the start of documenting the process of my next knitting project, which is the storm sweater. This is a pattern by PetiteKnit and I have been so eager and excited to cast this on for quite a long time. I must admit, I recorded all this footage in February and March of this year. However, I can't seem to find a lot of my intro and outro recordings, so I'm just redoing it now. This is an exciting one because I had hoped and planned to use some yarn from my stash for this textured sweater pattern a while ago, possibly 2022. While I was visiting my partner, I bought these. These are Sanders Garn alpaca skeins that were from a local yarn store in Norway where we were. These were discounted because they were discontinued colours. At the time I bought everything that was in the sale basket and that was that. I bought 6 beige, 4 brown and 3 grey. The grey isn't really relevant for this project, but it's nice to mention because I bought them together. The beige and the brown on their own wasn't really enough to do anything with. However, when I went back 2 years later, there was the same yarn sat at a different yarn store, with one of them being the same dye lot and the same colour code, the other one just the colour code but different dye lot. Naturally, I of course picked these up, and that resulted in me having a total of 8 beige, as I found 2 more and then 6 more of the grey. Ironically, you possibly wouldn't believe me if I told you that this year, in 2025, I found the same brown alpaca yarn again, same colour code and the same dye lot at that same yarn store. However, this time, as much as I wanted to, I didn't give in to the excitement. I do wish, looking back, that I did take them, because I think I could have made something really cool with them, but I didn't give in. I put them back. Someone else can make something beautiful with them. But yeah, wild, crazy. But back to this sweater in particular, this gave me a total of 8 beige, which wasn't quite enough for the size I needed to make the whole sweater. So I thought about putting the brown with it because I thought that they could look quite good together. I had decided on the storm sweater as it had sections of different charted texture patterns and it's almost in stripes. I was a bit nervous to do this though because I searched through the whole project list on Ravelry. I didn't find anyone else that had done this. There's one person that did it with like a different dye lot, but it wasn't like noticeable. After going back and forth about the amounts and the meterage and all of the other things and the colours, I decided to swatch, which I did, and did like the pattern in a stripe with the different brown colour. I used one of the new dye lots for the beige and the gauge swatch. Well, actually I did 2 because the first one was way too loose where I just held the alpaca single and it was just too gapey for such a structured texture pattern like this. So the second swatch I tried with mohair and that went a lot better. The gauge was bang on actually and I was very happy with how it looked. It wasn't too dense and it definitely wasn't too gapey. I matched the colours as best I could with a drops mohair. This ended up with me getting the colours light beige and chocolate. I was happy that the brown looked best on the stripe that had like the diamond texture. Also, as it was one of the biggest stripes, it would allow me to use more yarn of the brown and less of the beige for that section. I also liked what that meant when it came to where the dark stripes would land. So it would land like just here and I thought that would look really nice. And so we cast on, I think I cast on the 4th size. That's because I thought that the alpaca would grow quite a lot. I was really happy with how it was working up, but the whole time I was just a bit stressed about the game of yarn chicken that I was playing. That ended up being a back and forth feeling of nervousness or excitement and then confidence to nerves. This is how we were looking on the 11th of February and this is how far I had got by the 19th of February, and now we can continue on from here. Okay, so I've just laid it out on my blanket. This is where I'm at basically. I've got the back part of the yoke done. I am probably halfway through, well no, maybe halfway through, but halfway through the front yoke, like after you connect for the neck situation. With this jumper, yardage is definitely an issue. I am knitting this in Sanders Garn alpaca. These are 2 colours that I got the first time I went over to Norway, and also ironically I got more of this the last time I went, which is like 2 years difference. That's wild. But these were discontinued colours. I've had them in my stash for obviously years and I thought, okay, I want to use these. So I am using them with, I think I just went with drops mohair, drops kid silk.
because it was the easiest thing to, I say colour match, but this is a lot different to what I was expecting it to be. But I like this. I like the colour that it's turned out to be with the mix of the mohair and the alpaca. I'm on my second ball of alpaca. I had serious yarn bath with this one, and that's still my first mohair. These are still very much my first of the chocolate browns and the chestnut browns. I have 4 of these, and I have, I think, 8 of these, and I don't think I have enough of this one. This I think is 110, yeah, 110 meters, and I don't think that that's enough to get this done. I was umming and ahhing between 2 sizes. I have gone for the bigger size. I probably should have listened to myself and my partner in regards to probably going for the smaller size, because it's alpaca, it will stretch. I just really wanted it to be oversized. Because it's alpaca, it's going to have a lot of drape, so I wanted it to be more oversized than kind of like in betweenish to oversized, and not quite what I wanted it to be. My thought, so this pattern here is going to be this brown. I had a look on Ravelry, and I just saw no one else that did this kind of style. Yeah, I mean, I think it looks really good, but that was kind of like a way for me to like eke out my yardage. When I look at this, and I think I'm on my second skein of the tan, and honestly I'm probably maybe almost halfway through this one as well. That makes me very nervous. I know it's probably going to take at least 1 skein per sleeve, let's be honest. That is typically the way it goes for my size. Obviously this is going to break it up a bit though as well. So I think even on the sleeve though, I've only got 1 section of the brown. My plan was also to do the neck cuffs and the bottom ribbon also in this colour, because I wanted this to be more of an accent than anything else. But I'm now realising that I may not have enough yarn. Worst comes to worst, I will do the neckline and the cuffs ribbon in the dark brown, which isn't what I wanted to do, but if it has to be, it has to be. I would even still like to do the neckline in the light colour, and then the cuffs and the bottom in dark colour. I don't mind if that's different, but I kind of want to do this in the light colour. And my plan was I was going to do the neckline now. It's like I was going to get the front done, connect them up at the bottom, you know, when you start doing the body, and then I was going to come back, do the neckline, because I wanted the neckline in that colour, and then I was going to do the sleeves, and then I was going to do the body. I think it'll be okay. Like when I actually pick up stitches along here, I will still have this section here that will split up the neck and this stripe, but it's just not quite what I wanted. But this looks nice. I'm happy with this so far. I'll keep going basically until I finish this skein now before I do anything, and then I know what 2 skeins of yarn looks like in a big picture. If I can get to like, you know, even just here, that would be nice. So this is like the back yoke here. I think it might do like this stripe. I might be able to just get this out, which is like the body, start of the body. Hopefully, fingers crossed, I have enough yarn.
I'm actually a bit worried about those. I think I can get them back on. I think I'm gonna do it. I think I'm gonna rip it out. The ribbon's gonna be like here. I don't need it. Yeah. Should I just do it? I don't need to wash it, do I? I know that this alpaca is going to stretch, because alpaca does that. It's already going to stretch. The pattern is notorious for stretching, like once it relaxes, because it's texture pattern, the stitches are so constricted to each other. Once you block it, the stitches can relax and it gets bigger, like it usually grows. And if I can save yarn on a jumper where yarn is critical, I think that that's smart. So I'm gonna rip that sleeve out. Okay, that's just given me 2 cuffs worth of this yarn though, which is nice. It's gonna make it a bit more manageable at least. Yeah, I don't have any more decreases after that. So yeah, 8 centimeters of rib. 8. It's kind of wild. Oh my god, I'm losing stitches on the other side. That is not what I want to do actually. Scary.
do the decrease round on this arm, and I can then just work rib. I might still do the neckline next, because then I'll know how much yarn exactly I have left. So I might put both of these sleeves on hold, do the neckline, because I definitely want that to be the tan and not the brown. Yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do. This is what I've got left, by the way, just for a roundup. I obviously have like this one that I was working on that last sleeve. I have these two, these are new. I haven't touched these yet. And then that's my other new tan one. These are the two new dye lot ones. Can you tell? Kinda. But I used one of the new ones for my swatchy swatch, look. I might just use this up first, unravel this. So all of this can go back in here. Okay, let's rip out this swatch. I just wanted to give a little update. This is how it's going. I just have it on top of my mushroom season sweater right now because I was trying to see how the size differences were coming up. This is a drop shoulder, this is a round yoke, but I do know that I like the length of these sleeves. I had actually knit the last repeat of the sleeve and then I was like, okay, well I'm panicking that I'm gonna run out of yarn. This is a big old game of yarn chicken. I ripped it back and I hope that wasn't a mistake. I can just even re-knit it if need be, but I think it might be okay. And then as for the length, even with like the length right now, it's still hitting a pretty good point. Most people on Ravelry have actually shortened this by at least eliminating this row, but some of them eliminating this row. I also think I might do a split hem instead of in the round, which is what it recommends. The jumpers that I have split hems on, I just think look so much nicer on me. Either way, I think I'm at a point where I need to get all of these on stitch holders to try it on. But I feel like I can't really be bothered to put the neck on a stitch holder, but I am going to have to do something with it so I can get it over my head. I think the game of yarn chicken is getting quite close. I think I might actually have enough. I may still have to do this bottom ribbon in the brown, which I'm fine with. I'm totally fine with that. I would just prefer to have the tan sleeves and the tan neck so I can get the neck finished, try it on. And all of this will actually sit how it's supposed to because it'll have the neckline and I'll be able to get a good example of how this will sit. If this can work and I don't run out of yarn, I truly think this is going to be such a beautiful sweater. Considering I hadn't really seen anyone else do this striped pattern, I think it looks really nice. Hairstyle right now. I almost lost all my stitches again. Do I need And I'm also wondering if the sleeves actually do need that extra. Well, it's not a problem either way because I think I've got enough to do the sleeves. I'm going to do a split hem, but then when you look at the back, it looks so short. But like, this will block down. I think it looks great though. Does it look okay? I think I picked a good size as well because I think once this blocks out, it'll be really like thin and boxy, and I am kind of regretting pulling out those sleeves now. But it's also not blocked. Once it's blocked, it'll probably stretch. But we're definitely saying I need one more repeat at the ribbing, and I might need to bring those repeats back to the sleeves. I think next done, so that's fine. Next steps, I think I'm going to do this band here. Then I'm going to see how much yarn I've got left over for the repeat and the cuffs. If I still have 2 skeins left, I'll be absolutely fine to finish the sleeves with the longer length, and then I can always roll them up if needed. Because I don't want to have any like yarn left over, that's as well. I actually think the stripes look really good though. So as for yarn then, I still have this much old. There's a good amount there. I might need a tiny bit of the new skein. Okay, what I will have, I will have enough yarn, but I might have to do the cuffs in brown as well, maybe. So that I can weigh it. There's 30 grams on there, and then this new one, if I take the label off, there's 32 grams on that as well, which should be enough, shouldn't it? For me to do a body repeat, 2 arm repeats. This is going to be a severe game of yarn chicken, but I'm feeling kind of confident. My god, this is so exciting. There's something so wild about putting like a neckline, putting the ribbon on the neckline on. It just makes it less of like a project and more of like a wow, look at this jumper. I have done mostly the same.
So we're all done. We're finished. I can't quite explain how overjoyed I am about this sweater. I absolutely love it. And honestly, the positive about life popping up and me now doing the outro like halfway through the year instead means that I can wholeheartedly say that I have worn this a lot. Like, it's starting to felt a little bit under the arms, just a tad, just a smidge. I was worried that the alpaca wasn't going to be the most wearable in England, and it definitely hit a point towards the end of April where it was certainly too warm to wear, and I really don't want it to felt quicker than it needs to because I'm a sweaty mess. This was amazing to wear in Norway, however, where it's not so humid compared to the UK. I love the colour changes, and it did grow during vlogging, but honestly not as much as I thought it was. Although the sleeves are very long right now, I am really glad that I went back and re-knit them, particularly like obviously where I frogged a whole part of this chart, because now they can actually like fold up and it looks really good. So I have like 2 ways to wear it, and it's comfortable in both ways, which is nice. The neckline sits really nicely, I think, and I haven't added elastic to this yet, and it still looks so good, like without the elastic. The fit is also something I really love. I don't know if you can see the way it bunches up. There's not too much fabric going on here, which I think is like the perfect amount for me for it to be oversized and it not look weird. I think that also goes down to the alpaca, because the alpaca is drapey, so it's sitting exactly as I would want it to. And then I also shortened the main chart by 1 section, which I said I was going to do, and I did end up doing in the end, of course. I'm also super happy that I did the split hem. I knew I would be. It makes it feel so much better, I think, on me, and just a lot more comfortable. The best part though is how I used up my stash. Yes, I have mohair left over, and I didn't use up every single scrap, but I was pretty damn close. And I also think that I will find something to use these for in the future. I'm not sure what that is just yet, but it's there when I need it, and I can just pick it up and do it. I'm just so happy with this sweater that I knit, and although I don't need another one personally, I would definitely be happy to knit another one for someone else. Maybe I can knit the Storm Sweater Man or the kiddo versions eventually too, maybe. But yes, overall such a success in my opinion, and although it's not perfect with dye lots and things like that, we won yarn chicken, and you really can't tell that much with the dye lots anyway. It's fine. 1, because of the mohair, and 2, because of like the texture. I think it hides it really nicely. So that brings us to the end of this project vlog, and I hope it turned out okay, even despite the missing of certain footage, and I've tried my best to make it as cohesive as I can. However, this has easily become one of my favourite pieces of clothing by far, and it's even more awesome that I made it. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!